Welcome back, those of you that came back today. Um, Sorry we're a bit late. I had some glitch happening with my speaker. I had to shut down my laptop and start all over again. So anyway, welcome to everyone who is here again. And is there anyone here who wasn't here yesterday? Yeah, okay. Oh, Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. Sorry, I'm doing this thing. The reason it's kind of strange is I'm sensitive to the computer electromagnetic fields. So I have this webcam now, but the computer's down there. So you're all kind of far away. So I go like that. Anyway, so it's good. So, okay, I'm glad you could come. And welcome to this workshop we're having about generating loving kindness with Lou Beaumont and myself. And I think the approach here is an experiential approach, and to sort of try to, not try, but develop the ways that we can experience and feel loving kindness, not just talk about it, not just try to, as I was explaining yesterday to Snee, she was picked up on that, that it's not just something that we just overlay on top of an already mind that might be not feeling so kind and trying to be kind, but how to like sort of dissipate the interferences that we feel that prevent us from being open and loving to ourselves and others. And so we were just discussing earlier that what's necessary is for us to work with our subtle energies to bring our brains, I would suppose, but it's not just the brain, but it's the whole nervous system, into what science now talks about the parasympathetic state, so that we're no longer frightened. And because it's fear that usually that makes us angry or upset or having negative emotions, is that we immediately go into sort of a fight or flight kind of thing, you know. And so whatever our habitual habit is, to whatever it is, it makes us push away, you know. So the idea is, how do we work with those feelings, that um, reaction that we have when we just want to push things away and we just want to go into our little shell and protect ourselves and not be open, because it's openness that allows us to be having loving kindness. It's being able to feel someone else's pain, even if they're you know, being a real jerk. If we can have some kind of empathetic relationship with that person, then we're able to uh, not respond with the same sort of aggressive attitude. So that's one factor. Is it's how do we open to not put on our little shells, and we all have our ways that we do that when we just close up. But then and the other thing is, it just slipped my mind. What was I going to say? So working from, well, it'll come back. Maybe that's enough for now, because we want to get started. So um, I think um, oh, and then the other thing is that how we kind of can create an inner sense of loving kindness for ourselves, because that's really important. I mean, before we can even be open to others, we need to be able to be open to ourselves. So we've been working with kind of a meditation technique um, that's helps us um, do that, because the idea is that we all need a safe place. And so if this response is to go into this, you know, closed down or aggressive, you know, whatever it is, we either we go like this and want to fight back, or we go like this and we want to hide. But we each, you know, we all have a way of dealing with it. But it's sort of like we need, what we can do is we can make a habit of finding that safe place where we can be open. And so that's what the practices that Lou's sharing and that I'm sharing, is how to, at least it's worked for us. Both Lou and I have been doing this for quite some time, ways that we can um, know what that calm, open, loving space feels like, so that it's much easier to then override or not even fall into this protective, unkind, fearful state. And so, and what we were talking about before is that just before we started, is that the thing is about our society today. I think in pre-industrial societies, it was much easier to be in that space. But just the nature of the speed of the way our lives are today, it makes it more difficult to be in that place. And so that's why if we're interested, we have to counteract. It's not just, I think in the past, maybe it was a more natural thing. Like, like, when you see animals are just, they're more in their natural state of being. It doesn't mean that they don't go into fight or flight, but what we do over time is we stay there. We end up being stuck there. And so anyway, that's enough to talk about. But that's what we're doing. And so Luz starts with physical exercises. And the idea is that when you do the physical exercises, because the mind and the body are really one thing. I mean, I think people are accepting that now, because enough people do yoga to realize that when you open up the channels in your body, your mind relaxes. And so the idea is that if we enter into that state through the body, then when we do the meditations, they have a deeper effect. And people were saying it's working, because even Lou was saying last night she could feel that the meditation had a much deeper impact than if she just sat down and was meditating. And so I think in some ways, having a physical practice is almost more important these days than meditation, and until you can habituate to the breath. Because the thing that's important about having it be connected to your breathing, and I know I say this all whenever I do any sharing, is that we're breathing all the time. We're always breathing. If we're not breathing, we're going to die. And so if we can learn to connect this open sense of, okay, I can let go of that one, or then we'll talk about later about how we can also use our faculties, our mental faculties, to like help us penetrate through that. Then all we have to do is remember our breath. I mean, I know most of I've done like extensive meditation retreats, and I think that the two things I can share with you that came out of all those years is very, very simple. The first one is that when you spend enough time being aware of your breathing while you're doing these practices, then really all you have to do is remember to breathe, and you immediately can go, unless it's really intense, And so that's the beauty about working with the breath. And the second thing is that I realize too that whenever I'm unhappy about anything, it's because I'm just going into my own little fight or flight thing that makes us think about ourselves. And that's what's the problem in the world today, is that everybody's constantly like that. So they're always just, even if it's not a real threat out there, but just the speed and having to do this, having to go there and having to get this, and everybody sort of gets like this. And so then the brain naturally, the brain goes into the reptile brain, which is this fight or flight place where we we just think about ourselves. So everybody's just me, 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 much more, I think, than, that's the human nature to be me, me, me. But what I realized was anytime something's not going right in my life, it's because either I haven't taken the time to sit down and investigate what it is, something that I need to express, some need of mine that's not being fulfilled, something that I need to tell somebody, or it's because I'm just afraid and selfish. And so it actually becomes very simple to have a mind that's open and loving, kind, if you learn just a few little tools. So anyway, that's enough talk. That's our intro for today. And so let's just go on to Lou and have some nice relaxation happening.
Okay, thank you so
and
much.
Lou's in Spain, by the way. She's from, aren't you from Leeds originally, Lou?
Yeah, but I've lived in
Yeah.
Spain for 25 years. So, Teresa, I've put a link for the Hunwan, which I hope will be helpful. It's a very interesting site. Um, yeah. So now what we're going to do is lay down. A lovely start to the morning. We're going to repeat the things we did yesterday, because if we just keep piling things into you, nothing's going to stick. We don't expect all of this to stick anyway. It's for you to explore what works for you to get to this place that Paula's talking about, where we can really make changes and do some healing and, yeah, make it somehow a bit better. So if you can lay down and make yourself comfortable like you did yesterday, it's important you've got cushions or anything to support you, something under your knees if you need it, or under your neck, and something to keep you warm, because we're going to be there for about probably 25 minutes. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment to do that, and I'll move my position as well. Okay. So you can help make yourself comfortable if you just lift the head from the floor just a couple of inches and just lengthen the back of the neck. Not too much so the chin is pressing into the chest, but just slightly lengthen it, take the arch out of the neck. And also, if you bend your knees, you'll find that just flattens the lower part of the back. And if that's more comfortable for you, then place a cushion underneath your knees to support them. Most important thing is, let's start off as comfortable as we can. So there's no distraction. The body, this is a big thing with the body. If you're trying to sit for hours, it needs to be comfortable. It's one of the first things we have to really work out, I think. And then just sink into the floor. And if you let the palms of the hands just turn up towards the ceiling, that's more of a giving, letting go sort of position. And then bring your mind to the body and take a mental walk across the body. Just down to the toes, or the feet tense, we're going to do a little bit of tensing, relaxing in a minute, but let's just see how everything is at this moment. And then just starting to pull up the toes, really towards the face as much as you can, which tightens the ankles, and really hold the tension. Feel the tension mount up in the feet and in the lower calves. Hold that tension and be really aware of it. Try and go down to that part of the body and then let it go. Feel the feet fall away gently, softly into the ground. And then we press the knees, the back of the knees, down towards the floor, and just tighten the thigh muscles and roll them a little bit. So you're tightening up towards the buttocks. And as you do that, be fully aware, holding the tension. And then when you let go, really feel the tension slip away, slipping out of the muscles as they soften. The relaxation comes in and they fall towards the floor. It just becomes much softer. And then we just pull up inside as if we're stopping ourselves from having a wee, and just pulling up and pulling up towards the diaphragm. So keep pulling up so that you
create lots of tension in the abdominal area and also in the buttocks, in the muscles at the back there. So really pulling up and tightening and holding that tension, squeezing it. And when it's almost too much, just let it go. Feel the tension slip away. And the relaxation coming in. And the body sinks into the floor. And then make a fist with both hands and press that fist down onto the floor as hard as you can. Press the forearms, press the elbows, and then press the shoulder blades onto the floor, which makes you have to arch the chest. And that builds up tension throughout the upper part of the body. So really build that up right from the fists, up the arms, into the shoulders. Build up the tension in the chest. And hold and let go. And the fingers just gently uncurl. Backs of the hands sinking into the floor. The arms sinking into the floor. The relaxation sweeping in. The chest just sinking to the floor. And just be aware of the difference between that really tense state and that relaxation. And then lifting the head just 2 or 3 inches from the floor, holding the tension and building the tension up in the neck. So you might have to just do this for a few moments, really feel the tension gets to a point where you can't really bear it anymore. And then as you lower the head, just slightly lengthen the back of the neck and sink into the floor. Feel the tension sweeping away out of the neck area. And then just roll the head gently, not too far, from side to side. Stay with the movement, maybe sit just the mind just in the neck as it rolls from side to side. And then resting. And then screw up the face as tight as you can. Really, really tighten up around the eyes, around the nose, around the lips, tightening up the jaw. Hold that tension. And then just let go and feel all the lines evening out. The face just gently falling away. Relaxing into the floor. And then make a bubble or use your tongue and go around the inside of the mouth. Just evening it out, stroking, relaxing. And when you go one way, then go in the opposite direction. And then just relaxing the tongue, it gently rests against the roof of the mouth. Now take a mental walk over the body. Go down to the toes, up through the legs, through the trunk and the centre part of the body, the arms and head and neck. And notice the difference from when you first lay down on the floor. Now just sink into the floor, letting go, but feeling fully supported in a very safe environment, lovely space, and just relax. Just let go. So having prepared our body, we can now think about the breath again. And as we did yesterday, we'll start to do some three-part breathing. And the reason we do the three-part breathing is to learn how to breathe, how to really, almost how to breathe again, to use the tummy, the abdomen, and to open the rib cage, and just to make space in our body to breathe. So just resting the mind on the nostrils, the tip of the nostrils. Just stay there with the ordinary resting breath. And I'll just talk you through what we're going to do next, which will be to breathe into the tummy. And we just try and expand the tummy, but without any strain. So if you think of it like a balloon, you know, when you first start to blow up a balloon, it's quite tight, isn't it? But as you blow and stretch it a little bit, it starts to suddenly open out. Well, it's the same with the tummy. We should use our tummy muscles. All animals breathe with their tummies, but we've lost that with all the way we live and our postures and so on. So when we breathe into the tummy, we're just spreading into that area, just opening it out, but without any strain at all, because it will naturally start to stretch and open out easier with a little practice. Not much. It's amazing how it changes so quickly. So back to the nostrils, and place the hands on the tummy with the fingertips just touching. And this just helps you to gauge what you're doing. So remember, we're not trying to blow up a big, huge balloon and burst it. We're just trying to stretch it. And then start to breathe in gently through the nostrils. Follow the breath with the mind, because this really helps the breath and the mind to settle and concentrate and go into the tummy and open, expand. And breathing out, we just use the tummy muscles to press down at the end of the breath. So we just squeeze out a little bit more air. So in your own rhythm, just breathing into the tummy, just expanding the tummy. Try to expand into the back as well as the front. Think of the balloon just stretching gently, and try and get a nice rhythm. Your rhythm. And remembering the breath that goes out. Like Paula was saying yesterday, this is the one where we let go. My pranayama teacher always said, we focus on the outward breath, because when we breathe in, even that we do with grasping. We sort of take the breath in. So he said, focus on the out breath. So that's what we're going to do today a bit. So when we're breathing out, just use the tummy muscles to lengthen that outward breath a little bit. Press back at the end of the breath. And then relax. Relax the hands. And the next part of the breath, I'll just talk you through it while you rest the breath. Back to normal rhythm. And now we're going to do the rib cage breathing, what we call the intercostal breathing. And if you think about the wings of a dove, we're trying to spread the rib cage outwards. We're trying to get that movement outwards. And again, on the outward breath, we can use the ribs at the end of the breath just to squeeze a little bit more breath out and make that exhalation a little bit longer. So taking the focus, the mind, to the tip of the nostrils, begin to breathe in and follow the breath. And breathe in to the rib cage, opening out the side of the rib cage. If you want, pop your hands on the sides there, so it just helps you to feel that spread. And then breathing out, control the breath. Don't just let it go, just gently control it. Squeezing the breath out. And then continue that to your own rhythm, like an accordion, opening out, filling up the back as well as the front, being there in the body, with the mind and the breath. Feel the space. The body starts to soften. Seems to open out into a lovely, just empty space. And then the next part of the breath, we're going to breathe up into the top of the lungs. And to help us do that and to extend that part of the breathing, we're going to breathe into the collarbone area. So, I mean, if it helps, you can pop your fingers, your hands just underneath the collarbone. And just helps you to give you a point where you're trying to direct this breath, because the tummy isn't going to move very much. The rib cage are hardly going to move, but you're going to direct everything with your concentration. And this is why it's great to go in there with the mind and follow the breath up to the top of the lungs, and then expand that area underneath the shoulder blades and underneath the collarbone. So resting the mind on the breath. Start to breathe in and direct all the breath up towards the top of the lungs. So you're not going to get much movement there, but you're going to have the effect of opening out that very solid area. And it's a part of the lungs that asthmatics particularly have problems with. And this is really the full breath. When we use all these parts, we're fully breathing. So just going in with the breath up towards the top of the lungs, and then opening out back and front the area that's underneath those bones. Very protected area, quite stiff. And just soften it. It does take a bit of concentration to get the air there, the oxygen, but it's really nice to be able to explore the body like this, very gently opening it out with the breath. Even the edges of the body seem to soften, become porous. And then relax the hands down and breathe normally. Just taking a rest. We're going to put all three parts of that breath together now, and we can feel it like a wave that we start by taking the breath into the tummy muscles and expanding in the tummy, but taking enough air into the rib cage and expanding sidewards and having enough for the end of that breath up to the top of the lungs, and then controlling the exhalation as the wave sort of ebbs back and the rib cage closes and then the abdomen flattens. So in your own time, breathe in through the nostrils, go with the breath, expanding into the tummy, up into the sides of the rib cage, up towards the shoulders, the collarbone, and controlling the breath gently, slowing it down, the exhalation, squeezing with the rib cage, just gently, using those muscles, and then finishing with that slight flattening of the abdominal muscles, squeezing all the air out. And you'll find that the tummy then just springs back, ready to take more air. It's already making a balloon ready to fill. And continue that for a couple of minutes now. We'll just gently go with the wave, following the breath to all those lovely parts of this now quite empty body, quite spacious and easy to enjoy the breathing. And as Paula was saying, we all breathe. So this is really one of the easiest ways to get in touch, really with our softer body, our real nature. And it's so easy because we breathe anyway. So all we have to do is a little bit of this deeper breathing. And once you've got the hang of the 3-part breath, you don't need to practice all the parts, but it's fun to do it. But on a morning before you get up, this will energize you. Just a few minutes of this breathing. During the day when you're tense or you're tired and you're sitting, just a few minutes, just breathing a full breath. And at night time, relaxing before you go to sleep. Massaging. Breathing like this massages the body as it should be, all the internal organs really get a nice massage. So now relax the breathing. What we're going to do then is turn onto our tummies like we did yesterday. So you can really experience breathing into the back of the body, because that's not what we're used to doing. But once we soften that, it's really easy. It becomes the natural way of breathing. So in your own time, roll over onto the side and then onto your tummy, and make sure you've got enough support to be comfortable. And we'll do the same breaths on our tummy. Support your chin so the spine is straight but not tense in the neck area. Maybe a pillow, or you can use your fists on top of one another so it's easy to breathe. And just check the ankles are falling away and relaxed, that the upper body is relaxed. And now start to take the breath through the nostrils with the mind into the tummy area. And it's completely different, the sensation, because the body is pushing away against the floor. But your attention is going to the back of the lower back and opening that out. So let's do a few of those breaths and really start to stretch and open out the lower abdomen at the back. Being aware, though, of how you're pushing against the tummy that's on the floor, but directing everything towards that space at the back of the body. And remembering that exhalation, just making it a little bit longer, using the tummy muscles to squeeze out the air. And as you're breathing in, expanding that balloon in that space. And then relax. And we'll do the same sort of breathing in a moment. Just take a rest into the sides of the rib cage and thinking about the back area and softening it and opening up the back of the rib cage, which is so rigid. And as we get older, it becomes very rigid and stops us breathing deeply. It's part of old age, and will shorten our lives because breath is life. If we breathe well, we'll have good health and a longer life. But a lot happens in our posture and our ways of life, and everything gets solid, rock solid around the lungs, and we don't breathe to the potential we can. So now, resting the mind on the breath, just breathing in gently towards the rib cage area and spreading sidewards and into the back of the rib cage. And although this seems exaggerated breathing, if we do it just a few minutes a day, morning and night, or, get into the rhythm of this breathing, it actually becomes, you naturally breathe like this. And it's how we should breathe. Feel the space and the softening as the breath just opens out all that area. No strain, just a gentle rhythm. And then rest the breath. We'll take the focus up towards that area under the collarbone and under the shoulder blades. So all the breath is going to be directed up there, not much movement anywhere else. And we're going to fill the top of the lungs and just open out the space above the top of the lungs so the lungs have more space. Lot of concentration. So resting the mind on the breath, start to breathe in gently through the nostrils. And this time directing all that lovely prana, all that lovely energy to the top of the lungs, and then opening out the space under the shoulder blades. And after only a few breaths, you feel it softening. This is our shell, our armor. Using your concentration so that all the breath goes up into this area. Go with the mind and explore. And you can feel the energy going into the space. Prana energy. And then rest the breath. And the next thing we'll do is to put it all together again. And hold 3 parts. So when you're ready, start to breathe in through the nostrils, following the breath into the tummy, opening the tummy out, into the rib cage, spreading and opening out at the back of the rib cage, up towards the shoulders and the top of the lungs, making sure you've got enough inhalation to do the whole 3 parts, and breathing out with some control, using the rib cage just to squeeze the breath back, out, and flattening the tummy muscles. Breathe all that exhalation out. And then gently, the abdomen, the tummy will spring back, opening out, ready to take in more lovely oxygen, prana. The whole body benefits from this. So just in your own rhythm. Enjoying the space as you go with the breath into each part of the body. Just opens and softens. And then just relax. Just place the head to the side for a few moments and relax. Sink into the floor and just enjoy that soft, relaxed body, full of prana. When you're ready, if you turn on your side, and if you can support your head so that you're just on the side of the body, we'll just do a few breaths into the side of the body, just so you get an experience of that. And it's something that you can, try yourself when you're in bed or wherever you have time to do a little bit of breathing. And just breathe into the side of the body, and if you can, up towards the armpits. So if you're supporting your head, if you can get comfortable in that position, I hope you can, just try breathing into the side with that full breath. Or just breathing up towards the armpits and opening out the side of the rib cage. And that's quite different as well, and it's an area we can work with to open out. And then when you rest the breath, then we'll come to sitting and just do a little bit of the rhythmic breathing that we did yesterday. So just making sure whether you're on a chair or you sat on the floor, that your back is nice and straight, and it helps if you just push the bottom out a little bit and sit on the tail, and the shoulders are relaxed and the jaw and face nice and relaxed. And then staying with the breath, just bringing the mind back to the breathing, just as its natural rhythm. And I'll talk you through the count of the breaths that we're going to do, trying to use that nice 3-part breath, but don't get stressed by that. And the important thing is just to start to get control of the breath. So we'll be breathing in to a count of 4, and then we'll hold the breath for a count of 2, and we'll breathe out to a count of 6, just lengthening that outward breath, and we'll hold for a count of 3. So it makes sort of 4 parts of the breath. And so, you're breathing in, and then you've got like the top of the breath, you breathe out, and you've got this space at the top and the bottom of the breath. That's quite nice. So tummy relaxed, shoulders relaxed, attention just at the nostrils gently. And start to breathe into a count of 4. And then hold for a count of 2. And using that lovely control, breathe out to a count of 6. And then leave that space for a count of 3. So in your own time, speed up any part of this if you feel any strain. So it's 4, 2, 6, 3. I'll just do a few of those breaths. And just enjoying the space in between the breath as well as the breath. Just opening out how we've learned to open out the breathing enables us to control the breath in this way, just gently controlling it. And then just resting in the space in between each in and out breath. And enjoying that longer exhalation, letting go. Feeling the tummy spring open, ready to take in more lovely prana. Body lovely, open and soft. 4, 2, 6, 3. And next we're going to increase the count. And we're going to inhale to a count of 6. Hold to a count of 3. And exhale to a count of 8. And hold at the bottom of the breath for a count of 4. So just in your own time, increase that rhythmic breathing now. So breathing into a count of 6. And then holding for a count of 3. Breathing out to a count of 8. And do speed it up if you haven't got enough breath, exhalation. Just with practice this comes until you can go on and on, increasing this count as you get the control of the breath. Enjoying the space at the top of the breath. Resting in the space at the bottom of the breath as you're just letting go. Opening out so that you can really inhale to the count of 6, using the control so you can lengthen the exhalation, massaging all the internal organs, relaxing the mind. Opening into the space. And then we bring the count back down to 4, 2, 6, 3. So gently bringing the breath down, the count down. If you're practicing this rhythmic breathing, as much as we increase the breath, we then always come back down to finish off the exercise. So now breathing in to a count of 4, space of a count of 2, breathing out to the count of 6, and a space at the bottom of the breath of 3. We'll just do a few of those. And if you do sit on a cushion and do meditation and have time to just do some rhythmic breathing or alternate nostril breathing, one of these things, you can just do that for a few moments, well, really 4 or 5 minutes is the best, so you can really get the effects. It really makes a difference to the meditation, to being able to sit and relax into the meditation. So 4, 2, 6, 3, and after your next exhalation, we'll just rest the breath back to its normal rhythm. Just gentle breathing. And just rest there and relax. Just a lovely space, nothing to do. And yesterday we did a meditation in the afternoon, which Paula's asked me to do again this morning. It's a really lovely preparation for the meditations that she will be doing. So just gently bringing your attention down to the tummy. It's a bit like going down a lift, really, because if you think about your tummy button area or just below there, then you automatically do start to place yourself down there. Try and be in the center of the tummy. And feel a glow starting right from the center, what we call the dantian. And it starts in the center of that space that we've been exploring. And it just spreads out into the tummy, just glowing like a sun. Warmth, energetic. Fill the tummy space with that glow. Warming the body. And then take a pearl of light from that glow that just settles somewhere in the area of the uterus. So this is what we're going to use now, that really concentrated light energy to relax all the different organs. So using that, trying just to imagine yourself in that point of light down in the lower tummy. All the thoughts just dissolve in this light. Just try and be in that light, be the light. Now that light is going to just spread up through the tummy and towards the kidneys. And the kidneys receive it, open out, fill that lovely glow and fully illuminating them. They relax, the tensions go. The anxiety leaves the kidneys, just dissolves. And then direct that same light from the lower tummy up towards the liver. Send that light into the liver area, just below the rib cage. Feel that it's illuminated, glowing, energetic. All the anger leaves it and dissolves. draw the mind back to that light in the lower tummy, the concentrated pearl of light, the teacher calls it. And send that up towards the lungs, which should already be shining after all that lovely prana. And now you're just going to really top it up with some of that same energy, chi, prana, is igual. Send the light up and completely fill the lungs, illuminating them. Feel the light spreading out through the pores of the lungs, the skin of the lungs. And then take your mind back to the glow in the tummy area, and just feel that glow fill the complete body, all the limbs, all that space that we've been working with. It just fills that space. Lovely warm glow. And returning to the concentrated pearl of light in the lower tummy. That rises now through the centre of the body to the heart. And it just sits in the centre space of the body where we say the chakra is, the heart chakra, slightly to the back of the body. But anyway, just in that space will do. And just spread that light so it becomes a lovely warm glow, filling the chest area with warmth, light, like another sun. This is another dantian, another energy area, so just getting in touch with that from the centre of that space, using that light to just glow. And now feel that the skin and all the edges of the body are just porous, open, and that light is flooding out. And it fills your own house, your home, the room you're in. And it goes on into all the environment, touching all the living beings, touching the planet. Keep returning to the glow and that real concentrated light and sending it out. You might just use the breath a little bit, but not in any strained way, but just breathing it out. The glow just simply goes through all the pores like a sieve, fills the home, the environment, the country we're in. The planet is just enveloped with this lovely glow. Then draw the mind back to that centre of that pearl of light in the centre of the chest area. It rises now to the head, into the centre of the space of the skull, the head. And expand that light now, so it's another little sun, another energy centre. Just expand it out inside the head. And then again, feel that the pores are just all open, and that light floods out. And this time it's going right across the universe. It's just going across the galaxies. It's connecting with all the stars, all the planets, every direction. You're just like a lighthouse beacon. And just breathing that light out, touching all the universes, connecting with what we really are. It's lovely energy. Coming back to the glow in the inside the head and just sending it out again as far as you can go. See if you can go with it and touch the stars. And then drawing back into the center of the head to that pearl of light. Take that pearl of light now just down to the throat, softly. Into the spine. And down the spine to the coccyx, to the tail of the spine. It just sits there. And the glow spreads back into the tummy. And we just relax in that dantian, that tummy area, that space. All the boundaries are gone, all the edges. And then drawing the mind back, bring it up towards the head, start to stretch a little bit. And come back into the room. And just give you I think it's time now for a 5-minute break, and then Paula's going to follow this with some meditation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Are we all back?
Oh. Yes, everybody's back. Looks like it.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, Lou. That was really, really wonderful. And I think I said this yesterday, but I think I'll say it today. It seems like we need to give ourselves permission to take time out from all of our things we think we need to do and do this for ourselves. Maybe we can't do it every day, but it's definitely a friend of mine's son once said that once a week it's good to set the reset button so that we come into a kind of a ground space, healing space where I don't need to say anything. You all experienced it. It was it's amazing uh, bodies will heal themselves if we can, if we just let them. So let's just continue on because there's not a whole lot of time left, but that's okay because I felt like that was a really beneficial way to spend a Sunday morning. So let's just go back to where we were. I just felt we needed a bit of a break because it does take concentration to do this, and the mind gets tired. And so let's go back to sitting or lying down, however you're comfortable with, and back to where we left off, which is we have this awareness of the three dantians, the sphere of the pearl. I like the idea of the pearl, like the moon. The Tibetans use the moon, pearl, kind of similar. Sphere of light that's at just below our navel, our tummy button. And that's kind of that connects us with the ground. And we can even bring the awareness down to the coccyx, to the base of the spine. We're quite well grounded in our bodies now, so just being kind of like flash on, just touch the awareness that's in the navel region, the heart, and the crown. And remember to let the breath keep the body open, the spine straight, and also the mind alert. So when we have this sense of the breath filling up the whole body, it keeps us in a kind of aware, alert space. Because we want to relax, but without being drowsy. So focusing on the heart, which is where most of us feel that sense of loving kindness. We just think about some situation, some thought that allows us to feel affection. So it starts with a subject, something, our family, most people I think have children, your beloved children, parents, pets, Mother Earth. Or another way to open the heart is to think it's more the compassionate feeling of remembering. Sometimes for me, it helps to think about people all over the world who don't have enough to eat, or just the children in Britain. I heard they're going to spend millions of dollars to feed children over Christmas. I mean, just thinking about that makes me want to cry. There are children who are hungry. And as we don't have to focus too much on all the dantians or anything now. They're just kind of there. So now we just want to feel these feelings. Think of the mothers who have lost their children. Think of the mothers in war-torn countries. We've lost many loved ones. All the people who've lost loved ones due to this pandemic. You can even feel for all the people who respond to fear with aggression and division. Creating enemies instead of realizing that happiness comes from peace. But if that's too intellectual, just go back and whatever it is that touches you. For me, I think it's the hungry children right now. People who've lost their loved ones. The people in fear of catching the pandemic. People in fear of losing their mortgages, their jobs. Their parents. And we can just let ourselves feel that. And then imagine that we had the capacity to take all that away. Just make it this wish, may all beings be happy. May all beings have what they need to feel loved. First of all, to love themselves, to accept themselves. To feel content with what they have. And they have a lot. And then just imagine that through our connection, which we felt more with the Qigong yesterday, that connection with the whole universe. And understanding that our feelings of separateness, independence are a misunderstanding, because that's how it appears. We appear to be separate. But in actual fact, it's even being proven by science now. We're always connected on a very subtle kind of thought plane. There have been lots of studies now when we think of people and wish them well. Those people, when they've done double-blind studies, they actually get better. Most people. Just knowing that you can believe that. It's not just some hocus pocus. And feeling that, as Lou was saying, go into the idea that our bodies are very porous and open. That the skin is definitely there, but on a subtle level, we can imagine light, if you like, just a pathways. Whereas we breathe in, we can, through all of our pores, through all of the subtle energies of the body, when we breathe in, we can breathe into those centers, those dantians, and energize and heal ourselves by just being open to the magnificent force of life that's all over this planet. What makes the trees grow, the tides, children growing. And just imagine we can, by keeping this awareness of this sense that we had lying down and sitting up, very kind of opened sense of self, that with our breath we can just breathe in the strength of the life force. Not just be dependent on our biochemistry, but using the force of the earth and the atmosphere, the winds, the water, the strength of the sun, and space itself. Just breathing in, filling ourselves up with what, on a subtle level, just energetically, but on an emotional level, our own sense of well-being, our own sense of I'm okay just as I am. No need to continually judge myself. We don't need to think about this now, though. Just breathing in healing energy, energizing the dantians so that our whole body becomes full of like these pearls of not just energy, but also of wisdom and of compassion and love. And as we breathe out, we're just going to give that out indiscriminately to wherever it's needed. Using the full body breath, particularly remembering to breathing up under the armpits, under the collarbones, flooding the upper body with strength and power, opening the belly, floating the head, and feeling that brightness in the top of the head. Just being, breathing in, and with that long exhale, relaxing into the spacious nourishment of giving love, giving what's needed. Filling our cup so that then we can give to others. Feeling in 360 degrees, not just front, but back, all around. And the breath in the back. Like we're just a lighthouse, beaming the qualities that this planet needs: acceptance, joy, compassion, love. Throwing down conditions for love. When the mind begins to freeze, when it begins to coagulate into a thought, just be that full body breath and just let that thought dissipate like a cloud in the sky. Or breathe it right into the heart where it dissolves into that loving, that source of loving kindness. Just watch it penetrate, dissolve. Allow that bigger sense of self be stronger than the tendency to freeze an energy form into a thought. If you have your eyes closed, try opening your eyes and just look ahead so that we can be present where we are now. But not really be focused on anything outside of yourself, just being aware of the surroundings so that we can just be present. While we feel this loving breath. And we can feel this breath with our whole bodies. Almost like your eyes can be in the back of your head as well. That you're not really, you're seeing, but you're not really seeing something. It's just that your eye consciousness is functioning, your ears are functioning. So you're fully here. We are fully here. Just being. I think always have sort of some awareness in the heart. Never letting go of that initial feeling that comes when I think of the hungry children. People who've lost their parents, their children. Even the people who lost their president. We have to help them heal. Your eyes get tired, you can close them and rest. Just look down slightly. And just allow ourselves to feel good, doing absolutely nothing. Breathing, and giving, and receiving. And then it's about time to stop. So just add to that a sense that as you're breathing in, you don't have to make lists or think about it, but just think of all the things in the life that we need. From our inner life to like not judging myself so harshly or being okay with who I am, to better relationships, more kindness, more money, whatever. But without making too many labels, just now, just imagine that we're breathing that in, all our needs are being met. And then as we breathe out, we give that out. Fundamental sense of security. There is no security in the outside world. Things are always changing. The only really secure thing we have is our breathing. That never changes. If we can find comfort and ease inside our own skin, we can weather the changes that are bound to happen. If we cultivate this sense of inner strength, love, power, wisdom, even when we die, it'll be there. It makes us emotionally independent so that we're not so caught up by the whims of when our loved ones get sick or we lose our jobs or whatever happens. I mean, it's not that we don't feel it, but we don't have to be crushed by it because there's an inner refuge, an inner space that if we just pay attention to our breathing and spend a little time relaxing, we can go home anytime. And we still give him shades to say, used to put his arms up and say, resting in the natural state, something like that, just going home. And then it's easy here to be kind to others. So for me, this is the fundamental basis of loving kindness. Not pushing away anything, not hiding things from myself, being right here on the spot with me right now. Whatever's coming up, I can breathe it in and let it go. It might take some time, might take some days. But knowing that I'm not my feelings, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my thoughts. Those are just passing through. So we empower ourselves this way. So let's be empowered. We go have a break time, some lunch, whatever we need to do. And I don't think we'll have question time now. We can have questions because it's time to stop. We can have questions at the beginning of the next session. Is that okay?